For today's video, I'm sharing some Halloween decor DIYs that are easy and simple for anyone, as long as you have a glue gun, some paint, and access to the Dollar Tree. My name is Leah, and this is JunkerNecker DIY, where I bring you new budget decor videos every week. For this DIY, I'm creating 4 skeleton fairies for $5, but if you go with different wings, these butterflies that are also sold at Dollar Tree, you could make 4 for only $3. I just like these butterflies because they kind of look skeletal themselves. So I'm going to cut all these guys off their packaging, and then we'll get into it. Instead of gluing an entire butterfly on the back of this skeleton, what I'm doing is just pulling the wings off. They're wired wings and they just pull right out of that butterfly body and the clip that's on it. Now for the skeleton, only his head and hips move. So I'm going to be cutting his appendages and gluing them back on with hot glue in the position I want them. This one in particular, I want his arms and legs bent at the elbow and knees. So here I'm just putting a dab of glue on, making sure I've got the right piece because these actually have slight differences to them, the hands and the legs. So gluing him back together in the position that I want him in. And I'll give you a close-up look in just a minute of how that does. Just a little glob of glue and hold it till it cools. Now for those wings, I'm just going to run a line of hot glue along his spine and attach the wings and make sure they cool before I start moving them around or bending the wings. And this is how my gaggle of skeleton fairies look. But I've got something else that I'm going to be doing that goes along with this, and that's DIY number 2. You could do this with moss stones, a toadstool, and any kind of container that you have at your home. Or you can pick up a platter at Dollar Tree. But for my enclosure, I'm actually using an old bird cage. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to see how I'm putting them in there and setting them up, but I'll give you a play-by-play. I put a plate in upside down just to give the bottom a little bit of height, and I'm just dumping those moss stones in. I made a space for the mushroom to go right in the center and straighten out those stones to the way I wanted them, not gluing them down because I'll be reusing them at some point. Now this guy, I'm just going to glue his feet to the plate, so make sure that he's got enough surface to stand on. He's not standing on a moss stone. I'm going to lean him up against that mushroom. Since this is so difficult to see what I'm doing, I'm going to just show you the enclosure when I'm done. And this is how it looks. I actually put in 2 more on the top there that are hanging on the top of the cage. And these 4 guys are just hanging out down here. And that's it. Today's video is part of a monthly playlist that's hosted by Missy of Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic. Their guest host this month is Michelle of MOXIE DIY and Java. Links for their channels and this playlist are in the descriptions below, so please check those out. Now for DIY number 3 that costs $2. I spray painted this skull from Dollar Tree because I really don't like the grayish yellow look of the plastic that they use. Then I come in with some ivory chalk paint from Waverly, and I go all around that, covering all the black. Well, the majority of the black, I should say. Then I'm going to be using some gemstones. And at first I thought I was going to be using 2 packs, but it actually only took 1 pack to give me the effect that I wanted. I just wanted one side of the face. I'm sure you've seen these on Pinterest before. I'm just doing my own version of that. Now, since the eye socket is so concave, I had to fill it with hot glue before I put the big red eye on there. So I just started in with the jewels all around that eye. Not going in any specific pattern, just sticking them on however I saw fit. And there are, I would say, 4 different sizes of these gemstones on there. And I'm only going to be using 2 of the large ones. The first one here, see, I put a good amount of glue in there and I just dropped the gemstone on top of that. Moved it around with my finger, trying to stay out of the hot glue, of course. And then when I finished, I decided that he needed 2 red eyes instead of just 1. Now, I could have stopped here and done nothing else to the skull, but I wanted to put that other eye on, and then I also wanted to add a stand. And this is just something that I've picked these martini glasses up for 10 cents a piece at a thrift store, I don't know how long ago. And I had to put it on the bottom of the glass to have more surface area to glue it down on. And that's how he looks. I think it turned out really pretty. Spooky glam? Is that such a thing, or did I just coin a term? Anyway, spooky glam it is. Now for DIY number 4, this cost $4. I'm using a large clear plastic Christmas decor. I can't even think of what those things are called. Christmas ornament, yeah. Some cellophane, a Dollar Tree candlestick, and some LED lights. Now, if you don't have the cellophane wrap or can't find it, you can use the packaging that you take other things out of from there. It would work just fine. There, I'm checking to make sure that my candle holder and ornament are going to pair up well. Then I'm going to take out some cellophane and crumple, crumple, crumple. The more crumples it has, the more facets it will have for the light to jump off of. And I'm going to wrap that around the light cord. And you can go back and forth with the light strip, but just don't make it too wide that it won't fit into the mouth of the ornament. And there, I'm just putting everything inside, leaving that battery pack outside, of course. And then you can take a skewer or something and move the cellophane around if you don't like how it's positioned or if it seems to be clumping up anywhere. And you could also add more in if you see that there's some spots that are kind of sparse. And then I'm going to glue this right down to the candle holder. And be sure to hold that until it's completely cool, because the battery pack tries to pull it off the candle holder. Anyway, speaking of the battery pack, you need to cover it up with something. I've got it turned to the back of this crystal ball, but I'm also covering it with a scrap piece of black tulle. Just tying a simple knot around that, and this is how it looks. I surprised myself with that one. I think it turned out great. And with the lights off, even better. For our 5th and final DIY today, this cost me $4. And it's my Halloween wreath to hang outside. I'm using the vintage looking yard stakes, a package of the buffalo plaid fall leaves, and a roll of the buffalo plaid ribbon, all from Dollar Tree. The wreath I'm using, I have reused and reused many times, and I'm taking the last of last year's decor off now. And I'm going to keep that piece of wire that the mask was tied on with, because I'm going to use it again this year. Now I'm just going to cut the tags off the top and pull that stake off the back. It pops off very easily. Didn't give me any trouble. And then that hole at the top where the price tag was connected to it, I'm going to put the wire through that and wire it to the wreath. I just give it a little twist and then capture several of those branches on the wreath and twist, 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 then hide the wire in that wreath. And then I'm going to put some hot glue on the bottom because I want the cutouts positioned going the circular motion of the wreath. I hope that made sense to you. Anyway, this, I don't know what happened to my camera, and I do apologize. I'm going to put something up to cut the glare on that cat there. But I was just taking apart my summer bow to to get a few more of those sprigs of ribbon to go in with my ribbon that's going on this. And I had a couple of harlequin checks that I'm throwing in there. And I'm just straightening it out a bit before I start looping it again. And what I do is just make loops with the ribbon and bunch it all up together and tie it off with twine. I have twice the amount of tails as I do loops on this kind of bow. And if you want to see more about how I do those bows, I'll link something above for you to watch. Now I just glued it on to the top of the wreath. And then I started gluing on those buffalo plaid leaves. And then lemon peasy, easy squeezy. I got that all backwards. It's done and it's hanging up. And would you look at that? I've got some authentic spider webs over my Halloween wreath. Why knock them down now? Wait till after Halloween. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And leave me a comment below if you had a favorite project that I did today. And be sure to check out that playlist, y'all. Until next time, bye-bye.